What's up, everybody? This is John, Unpaid Gamers, with another car thoughts for you. I was doing some thinking. Let's see, how did it start? Okay, so, we were talking about doing some co-op videos of Earth Defense Force, is really how it started. And, current system-wise, they're really PS4. I don't think any of them are native PS5. But it's there's Earth Defense Force 4.1, 5, Iron Rain, and the World Brothers. There's also kind of a spin-off game. It's like a shooter-style game or whatever, with the winged everything. But that's pretty much it as far as the EDF goes. So that's kind of our options to start in that. So, we're big fans of the series. And, we talked about just kind of how, on the surface, at least it used to be, like, at the time when it first came out, the 2017, well, that's not the first game of the series, but kind of the first one on, like, the 360 and ports to America and stuff that I know about anyway. That was my introduction to the series, and I was like, wow, this game looks terrible. But, you get to looking into it, try it out, and it's like, okay, it's fun as hell. And if you don't know anything about it, you've missed me talking about it before. Pretty much just have a world, and it's being invaded by aliens, which is generally giant insects. And you just have guns, and you start off with an assault rifle and a rocket launcher, and both have infinite ammo. And you just blast these things. So super fun when you get going on it. So anyway, it got me to thinking, it's one of my favorite ones of the series, and the first one I really, really got into was the second one on the Xbox 360, which was Insect Armageddon. And that was kind of an Americanized... Ooh, there's some kind of accident. I don't know if you can see over here. I don't know if I pointed it the right way or not, but I'm trying to not get in an accident as well. So it's raining, we got accidents, exciting times. So back to what I was saying, Insect Armageddon, that was kind of the made for Western audiences kind of entry into the series. And that was the first one that I had bought. And, I had knew about the other one and played it and liked it, but this was the first one I'd bought, was Insect Armageddon. And it kind of, for a long time, held its value in the disc version. So at one point, I was thinking that I traded it in, and turns out I was right. So we were talking about EDF. I was thinking about, do I still even own Insect Armageddon? To be honest, my Xbox 360 only really ever hook up for Rock Band. I have a ton of songs on there. I use it for Rock Band 3, and I don't know. I just don't really hook it up to play games for the most part. I would if there was something I really wanted to play. I have that, and I still have my OG Xbox, so I could hook that up as well and play some. But, the beauty about Xbox is the backwards compatibility of the series and the Xbox One. Not every game's available on there, but they've done a pretty good job of putting a ton of games supporting it with backwards compatibility. So I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but it'll tie together, I promise. So we were diving down this EDF world. Got me thinking about Insect Armageddon. I pulled up the list for the backwards compatibility with Xbox, and both of the EDF games are on there as being supported through the backwards compatibility. So I'm like, okay, so let me look. Turns out I turned in Insect Armageddon, traded in at one point, so I didn't have either one of those in the old one. I'm like, well, since I can play them on the series, I'll track those two down and just kind of add them to my EDF collection now, my modern day EDF collection. So looked online, fairly affordable for the most part, just as affordable on the Microsoft Store, so I got them digitally. And I've also been streaming Earth Defense Force 2017 from the beginning on Twitch, as a matter of fact. If you haven't seen our Twitch channel, Go check that out. We do some streaming from time to time on there. And but if you have trouble finding that, you don't do Twitch, I export all those over to YouTube after the fact, so you can still check them out there like normal. So I've been streaming the EDF 2017 now. Still holds up very well, actually. Still super fun. The graphics were never like the selling point anyway, so that's just fine. And the other cool thing, and really the point of this video and what I'm getting at, is the way that Xbox handles all these old titles. And it's not just from the backwards compatibility standpoint, but they put them on Microsoft Store very often. I mean, they're up there all the time, but very often, I mean, they're on sale and like stupid prices. Like I have got a while back, I had got the Time Splitters games that I used to own, and a lot of these I've owned before. Again, traded them in for whatever reason, or got rid of them, or I don't know. If I kept every game I've ever had, my collection would be ginormous, and who's got room for all that? So I like kind of going to digital and finding solutions for some of that stuff. Anyway, so over the years I've lightened the load, but there are some really great gems that I feel like still hold up, still fun to play, still would like to get. And I had, not too long ago, just got the Time Splitters games. So if you haven't played those, they were made by, Tom's going to kill me, but I don't remember the developer off the top of my head, but it was some of the people who made GoldenEye, responsible for GoldenEye 64 from Rare. They had left and worked on these games and made these. So very, very similar, very reminiscent of it. And just great multiplayer, bot shooters even, multiplayer shooters. They got a cool campaign. Awesome games. So they were on the store for like $2 a piece, something like that. And I realize they're old games. Like a lot of people may not appreciate them, but if you're into checking out older retro stuff, or just remember some of these games, like keep that in mind. You can just go on the store. Those sales are awesome. I had got the Silent Hill collection from the 360 on there as well at one point for like $5, and it has Silent Hill 2 and 3 on there. I think I got the Metal Gear one, which has 2 and 3 for a similar price point. The new Saints Row games coming out, which I don't think either one of us have really figured out how we feel about that currently, but got me thinking about the old games of that. And I remember getting Saints Row back in the day. It was a random buy for me. It wasn't popular at all. I walked down to like Book of Music Exchange, which is if you don't have one in your area, it's like a half-price books, or it's just like a second-hand store that has books, games, things like that. Still have retro games and stuff to this day. So but I had walked down there, and I think I was just looking for something to buy, and like we kind of talk about in our table talk stuff and car thoughts, like back then the release dates were so sketchy, you didn't hardly know what was coming out half the time. And I went down there looking for something cool, and I don't know, I seen this Saints Row. It was the very first one, and I was like, well, I'll give that a try. It looks kind of interesting, kind of looks like GTA, and like what a ride that was. It was like GTA. Some parts were not as good, but some parts were way better, and it really surprised me. And that was, again, the first one, and they've since launched, a whole franchise off of it. And, you can get that first one on the Xbox store right now for like $1.25 or something like that. Not sure how it holds up. I mean, it is an older one. It won't look as good, but, people are still playing GTA 3 and Vice City and stuff. Like, it's easily as good as those. So, check it out. And I don't know, I just think it's really cool to not forget about some of these great games. And I think I may end up, I'm always kind of finding new things to stream or looking for new things to stream. I believe I'm going to to kind of at least semi-regular or occasionally stream some retro games like that, because there's so many that are so awesome, that have I don't know, just great mechanics, like different. It's not just the same old kind of stuff that, you know, a lot of these new games are having outside of indie stuff. Another really great one that's backwards compatible. I'm not sure what the price point is, but I was looking through my box to see if I had Saints Row or whatever EDF and shit like that, and Condemned. Criminal Origins is the name of it, and what a great game that was. It's it was first person kind of horror, very similar-ish to kind of the new direction Resident Evil was going in a way now. But it was about, you know, solving crime. You're like a cop, and you go in, and it's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and it was really, really innovative and very, very cool back in the day. So I feel like it's kind of one of those forgotten games that a lot of people would appreciate now. And so I think I might stream some of that at some point. And I really want to kind of comb through that backwards compatibility for the Xbox list and see what else I can find that isn't really getting enough love these days. I know there's some of my favorite games that I mentioned before are not backwards compatible on anything, and it's asking for a remaster, a remake, some of this stuff. Death Row was a game I really, really love. It was like a futuristic sports kind of thing. It reminded me of like Rollerball or Roller Derby or something. Like you would battle and you would try to score at the same time. The closest thing you got to that now is like Rocket League, and it's very, very similar-ish to that. Except you're not in cars and you battle and you have this disc and you try to throw in a goal and stuff like that. Some really, really, really great old games. And, you know, there's a like resurgence of retro gaming, and but, you know, it's kind of only to a certain degree, right? Like when you see retro games that are picking up steam and popular, it is usually like 8-bit stuff, 16-bit stuff, like distinctively retro looking stuff. And there's like a point to where things went 3D, right? Like PlayStation era, PS2, and like a lot of those kind of get lost because and some rightfully so, right? Like they went to 3D. The textures don't hold up as good as they used to. They just don't look great, a lot of those games anymore. And it's not that graphics are everything, but sometimes when they look a little too rough, it's hard to kind of get in that experience, I think. And but still, at the same time, there's plenty of those that are just good enough, or you know, still kind of hold up well, or the gameplay just completely overshadows any other shortcomings it may have. So I believe I want to start kind of going through and showcasing some of those. So retro games that have been forgotten. I think that's a cool project to try to kind of look at. And I don't know that I'll be streaming the whole thing, or, you know, we'll see what happens. I've talked a lot about streaming a lot of different things, and you know, I've been so far kind of holding up my end of the bargain. I've got some Vampire Masquerade streaming on Leisure Play. At the same time, I'm doing some EDF stuff, and we'll be doing some co-op stuff. And I'm gonna kind of hopping all over the place, but I'm starting to, you know, I'm trying to kind of do it in parts, and to not get too many things going on. And I'm just gonna kind of move through some of these titles. Some of them I do want to do full playthroughs, and some I probably just will showcase for a bit. But either way, gonna be streaming a lot of stuff, and a lot of just different weird stuff, as well as new games and stuff too. So it's really just kind of what I'm playing at the time. That's what you'll see. And you know, if you have a series or an Xbox S, I encourage you to not skip over some of those retro titles, it's very clear if you go looking in the Microsoft Store which ones, because they have the 360 label down the side of it. And you can quickly just browse through and see which ones are that. And like oftentimes on the sales, they're $1, $2, $3, $4, something like that. And it's such a cheap buy-in, just to try something like that out. So check it out, see what you can find. I promise you there's going to be some cool gems that way. I'll try to showcase some, and we talk about those old titles all the time that are great games. So keep a lookout. We'll steer you in the right direction, and until next time, see ya.